Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas, back with an extra time video, joined by Terry this morning. This is the morning after last night's quite disappointing result against Southampton. This is where we're going to go into a bit more detail than kind of the instant match reaction, but kind of start off from the first half. Obviously, we played very poorly. We couldn't really handle Southampton's press at all. Ings was causing us a lot of problems in behind. How much did we improve in the second half, do you think, Terry? And how do you think, from my perspective, from our first half performance, I don't think a point was actually that bad in the end, considering, how badly I thought we played. Obviously, going into the game, I was kind of after 3 points at home to Southampton, who are obviously just below us in the table. But kind of from the first half, I was quite happy with the point in the end.
Yeah, to be fair, I considering what I was thinking in the first half, I had to spit your head off for a point because we were just getting murdered in that first half, weren't we? We couldn't live with them. And it's got to be said as well, everyone's looking at it like it's top trumps, like, oh, well, Southampton aren't as good as us. Why have we looked so terrible? Southampton have looked pretty good since they came back, you know what I mean? They look, you can see why when in the first half yesterday, they had energy all over the pitch, and were combative in midfield. We just seemed like a yard slower than all their players, and second to every ball, everything was just terrible, and it was not a good half. But you touched on it then, the improvements in the second half. Ancelotti's bailed us out again with a tactical change, hasn't he? Like, it doesn't make sweeping changes to personnel, but just slight changes to the shape and to the roles some of the players are playing completely evens out the game. Now, we not to say we suddenly were on top in the second half, but it was more of a match in the second half rather than just a beating, which is what we were taking. But it didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. Like, going into these run of games, I thought we're going to get some dodgy performances. Fitness is going to be a thing. We're going to have players who get exposed a little bit, who aren't as used to playing in our system. Now, I know people saying, well, don't play the 4-4-2 if your midfielders can't do it. But it suits the back four, it suits the strikers. I'm not up for changing the formation to accommodate some of our worst players. We're playing 4-4-2. They'll have to either deal with it and just do what they can, and then we'll replace them in the summer. So, long story short, I was happy with the point considering what the first half was like, because I think we were looking at before down going into half time.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there, that we didn't really learn anything new in this game. I mean, obviously central midfield was shocking again, but we already knew that. Obviously Gomez just looks like kind of a shell of the player that he was, which you can expect after a long-term injury, but he clearly just doesn't look fully fit. He hasn't played loads of games even since he's been back from his injury, which obviously it feels like it has been, because it's been quite a few months now, but obviously he was way off the ball. I thought Davies was poor again. He doesn't really get involved. I think it's quite interesting that all our best attacks were kind of coming, kind of just bypassing central midfield. Obviously, Digne's ball into Richarlison was a very good pass, skipped them all completely. And in the second half, I think the majority of the problems that we did cause, I mean, we didn't create loads, but the problems that we were causing were kind of coming from almost kind of long ball, which is kind of almost what we had to do to beat Southampton's press. They just had so much more energy, and that's kind of, I think, what we're after in our team. We need more energy, because obviously Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison can press as much as they like from the front, but if you've got nothing kind of just behind you in centre midfield, you kind of chase them a lost cause. And I definitely don't think we'll learn anything new, like you said there. And obviously what's definitely not something new is Lee Mason's refereeing performance and then VAR. We'll touch on it slightly, because obviously this isn't the VAR show, but another shocker from Lee Mason. I think we've kind of come to expect that now, but I think there was three penalty decisions yesterday in the Premier League match, and I confirmed they got them all wrong. Obviously, it was our penalty, which, I mean, I tweeted this last night, but at first look, I was like, oh no, it's a lazy challenge. Gomez has left his foot in. All I had to do was watch it one more time, and I was like, no, he hasn't. Ward-Prowse was already going down. I understand that. I mean, Lee Mason should have had a better angle on it anyway, I think, but I think you can understand at kind of the speed that, football goes at in the Premier League. It's like, oh, he's left a foot in, he's gone down. That's the whole reason VAR's there. All VAR has to do is look that one time and go, no, he's going down so much earlier. I mean, Gomez literally, he almost tries to pull out of the challenge as well. He kind of turns his body away, but that was given. And it's kind of, it's what we've come to expect, really. Obviously, I can imagine what your views are, but I think I do like VAR, but I think the massive problem is video assistant refereeing. It's meant to help, but it's still run by the same referees that are on the pitch. You know, that they don't want to overrule each other, and I mean, it's as if they're in such a close knit group. They don't want to overrule the match official on the pitch, which is disappointing because we do have the screen and they use that in Europe, but for some reason we've decided we don't want to do that. Surely, if Lee Mason goes to look at that on a screen, he goes, "No, I've made the wrong decision. I'm changing that now." So I didn't really end with a question there, but kind of just what I'm saying is just like, kind of what have you kind of like, do you think VAR has to stay? And like, how does it kind of improve? Because obviously, in my opinion, it's a good tool, but it's still run by the same officials that are on the pitch that are making the mistakes in the first place, and they don't want to overrule each other at all.
It's the boys' club of the referees is the main problem. I mean, they won't overrule each other's decisions like that. I mean, we've had this season more penalties given against us by VAR, which they then, after the fact, said they got it wrong. So we were incorrectly awarded, than we have actual penalties awarded to the team. It's like, how is the VAR, and you know, it was meant to be this equaliser where it'll stop, you know, like referees, it'll stop, you know, certain teams getting certain decisions, whereas I think Man United have got more penalties this season than they've got ever before, and we've got one, but had two given against us, which were then you know, they admitted that they were wrong. It's ridiculous. It shows how inept our referees are. There's a reason none of our referees go to the World Cup, because they're absolutely shocking. Lee Mason yesterday was a joke. I mean, he wasn't the reason we were getting battered in the first half. I don't want people to conflate, like, always blaming the refs. Like, no, but you know what I mean? You feel like you've got to beat the ref as well, like, because James Ward-Prowse was just running around fouling people all game. I don't even, did he get booked in the end? But if he did, it wasn't until the end.
I'm actually not sure he was actually in the end.
I don't think he was, but if he was, it was a long time in coming.
Yeah.
But Luca Dean gets booked for telling the ref to fuck off. Like, basically, he a bit of dissent and he's booked like that. But James Ward-Prowse goes around fouling people constantly. He was constantly fouling Richarlison. Richarlison was getting fouled by other players as well. Anthony Gordon was getting fouled. It was just ridiculous. They're absolutely, the referees in this country, they're on so much money and they're just awful. Like, how could this should be the weekend going in, you know, ready for next season, where they have a massive look at the referees. Don't blame the VAR. It's just technology. Everyone else uses it, but the referees this weekend have got, what was it, 3 penalty decisions wrong awarded. Yeah. And they didn't award the one on Anthony Gordon, and it's like, how is that? That is awful. Like, that's laughable. Other countries' referees must think, how did the English games have so much money in them and so many good players, but they've got referees who are so subpar.
Yeah, just kind of followed on from Lee Mason's shocking decisions. Richarlison's going through on goal. He's brought down by Ben Narek, I think it was. It's either a red card or it's not a foul. Like, I personally don't see how it's got to be one or the other, because in that kind of position, there's no kind of middle ground. It's a very black and white situation, because if it's a foul, he's the last man. And yes, Richarlison kind of knocked it away from goal, but he's still in on goal. Like, he's not like going away. But then if it's not a foul, why do we still get a free kick and a yellow card? It's as if, like, it sounds angry that, you know, we got a free kick in a dangerous position, but the point is just it's got to be a red card, surely, if that's a foul. I don't even know if it was a foul, to be fair. I think the defender did get some contact on the ball, but you know, there was kind of tackles like that happening all over the pitch where, I mean, Richarlison won the ball and then he got yellow carded, and then I think that was where it all kind of kicked off. You know, it kind of boiled over at one point, because just players were winning the ball, but fouls are still being given. It's like Lee Mason was refusing to kind of let the game go, because there are some heavier challenges, but that doesn't mean everything needs to be called for a foul. And then when there are actual fouls, you know, James Ward-Prowse, I mean, he was kicking Richarlison, Gordon, anyone all over the pitch. And we don't think he got a yellow card, but even if he did, I remember checking, he didn't have one in like the 80th minute or at some point. So, like, it's just, I can't see how that wasn't a red card if they deem it to be a foul. Because if VAR checks that and decide it's a foul and it's a last man, surely, is that a red, surely?
Well, if it's a foul, it's a red. You're like, oh, well, he's
Yeah.
not in the box. He's taking the ball away from goal. He's not. He's not taking the ball away from goal. He's just moving it. Like I personally, I've got to be honest, didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was a good time.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
He got the ball, like, and it's I thought, what a tackle that is. And then when he blows up, I was like, he's got to send him off. Then if he's seen a foul, he's got to send him off. And the VAR checked for a red card, so it's. I think I don't know. I just think the referees in this country just make it up as they go along. He wanted to be the star of the show yesterday, Lee Mason, and they so often do. The refs in this country, they want to be they want to be celebrity refs, and that's what they're trying to do. And I'm convinced Lee Mason yesterday, he loved his whistle, but he wasn't booking players for consistent fouling. But then when someone said something against him, Lucadina, at the end, yellow card. Absolutely embarrassing display from the referee.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well that if Lee Mason, blows for a foul, gives that as a red card on the Southampton defender, I reckon that's overturned by VAR, because then they say there is contact with the ball and it's not a foul. But the fact he gave a yellow card, VAR's kind of gone, maybe it's a foul. But obviously they can't overrule a yellow card foul. They've just got to decide if it's a red or not, which is ridiculous. They should have more power than that. And Lee Mason should be able to go and check, wait, that wasn't even a foul. It shouldn't be a yellow, whatever, drop ball. I don't know what the restart is from there. But I reckon if that was given a red card, which Lee Mason should have done if he thought it was a foul in that situation, I reckon that's overruled by VAR, which is frustrating.
Yeah, shocking, isn't it? Like, let's be honest, it's just absolutely shocking. Like, referees, we weren't great in the game, but he didn't help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think kind of just moving on from referees, because we don't want to be too negative. I mean, me and you kind of mentioned this last night on Twitter, and some people disagreed with us. I personally think we've actually got the shell of a really good team, and I think we showed that in the second half. We are dangerous going forwards when we do put together some good attacking moves. I think our defence has actually become increasingly solid, especially Michael Keane. Now he's made a massive improvement, I think, since the restart. I think we've got a very good defence. Obviously, Pickford does have his moments, so maybe that could be addressed at some point. I thought, to be fair, he was all right. He made that good save against Ings from the corner, but then obviously the goal they scored was obviously just a very strange kind of fluky miss hit, and then it's confusing for everyone. He could have maybe gone to ground, but we'll kind of move over that. Just kind of, I believe this team isn't bad now. I think everyone kind of reacted to the game kind of saying, oh, we're awful, we need a complete overhaul. I don't think we do. I think we need more quality and depth. I agree with that, because obviously Bernard's coming off the bench and he's absolutely useless at the moment. He doesn't seem to be able to do anything. And he's wayward with his passing, he's wasteful in possession. But do you kind of agree that this team now isn't far off a couple of good, I think a couple of good central midfielders? We need obviously very good recruitment now, because we have to find the right players for a good price. We don't want to be here again in, I don't know how many years, 2 or 3 years, and saying, oh, we've got this player or that player on too high wages. We definitely need good, quality recruitment. But I feel if we do have a centre midfield that, energetic, all we're asking is for a bit of energy in the midfield. They're willing to go in for a tackle, which I don't think is a lot to ask. Do you think if we sign a player like that, we can kind of kick on, and we do have a good side under Ancelotti now?
I don't think it's as bad as people are making out. Like, I think people are massively overreacting. Like, this is, a mini tournament with no pre-season, and to boot, we've got a lot of injuries. So I'm playing a system that doesn't suit a lot of our midfielders. So I knew going into these games, when we only had Gomez, Davies and Sigurdsson for centre midfield, like, we're going to have some shocking centre midfield performances here, because we have, our 2 defensive midfielders, well, 3 we had at the start of the season, which was Kabam, Delph and Schneiderlin. And let's be honest, 2 of them we don't really like anyway. 2 of them are injured, and one of them's been sold, who was also injured. So even if he wasn't sold, he wouldn't be playing now anyway, probably. I don't know what else people expect. It's like, the team's not going to look at it. Leicester don't look at it, because the restarts hurt them. The restarts hurt some of our players. Calvert-Lewin doesn't look anywhere near as good as he was playing, but let's be honest, how was he meant to when he's not getting very good service and he's not got much to work with? Signings would unlock a lot of these other players. Now, don't get me wrong, like, people aren't just making it up. Andre Gomez has been terrible, absolutely terrible. But there is a good footballer in there, and I think after that, his fucking foot was pointing the other way several months ago, and then he rushed back, probably got through a couple of games on adrenaline. Then he had the lockdown. So I'm not expecting him to be pulling up trees at this point anyway. Not to say he isn't, that's an excuse, he can play badly. Then no, it's not. He's still playing poor. But I don't think it's like, oh, but he's crap, he needs to go, like some people are saying. Like, Iwobi, he's not great. He was bought to play number 10. And then when Silver had him, he never played a number 10 hardly, kept playing Goodison. And now we don't play a number 10. So that was a stupid decision, but whatever, it's been done. Bernard, I thought Bernard was great when we first got him. I still think he's a good footballer. He's gone badly off the boil. Don't know. Bernard and Iwobi, yeah, not playing very well at all. I think the others, there's mitigating circumstances around. Moise Keane, he's only a kid who goes, oh, you can't see anything from him. Like, yeah, but you couldn't see much from Calvert-Lewin at first, and then all of a sudden this season he started like scoring, and I understand the frustration. Everyone, gets upset when they're seeing other teams who have not had as much money spent on them as us getting blowing us away in that first half. Southampton, but honestly, could be a different how can I say it? A different sort of formula, makeup of the team could unlock so many other players. Like Gomez next to Gabaman or another midfielders could suddenly start playing well. It won't be playing on the left with a run of games, could start playing well. You just don't know. I don't think we need a 10-player overhaul. I think we need 3, maybe 4 good players in key positions. Now, it's not as easy as that. You might not get them, but 3 or 4 key signings, especially one in centre midfield, first and foremost, could make a world of difference to the rest of the team, because there's good players there. The 2 forwards are good. The back 4 is good. I'm not a fan of Pickford, but I don't see him getting replaced this summer. I think it'd be next summer at the earliest. Yeah, I think people are overreacting. I think, it's frustration at, at getting the results early on and then, having a dip in form. I think if we'd have had the defeat then a draw to start off with, we wouldn't have been as bad. But it's you've sort of been let down because we thought Europa League was the target, and it's pretty much gone now. Honestly, it's all about. I know we've said this a lot, but if you keep changing managers, you're going to keep doing it. It's all about getting ready for next season now, and hopefully this is the manager that sticks, because he seems to be a class apart from the ones we've had beforehand. He actually knows how to change a game. He actually knows how to identify problems on the pitch. He's pulling off players who are not performing, whereas previous managers just leave them on until it was too late.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, that a key midfielder could just kind of unlock Gomez, because obviously he's been really struggling, but then also Idrissa Gueye's left. We tried to replace him, Gabaman's been injured, but we're almost asking Gomez to do what he was doing last season. Then you add Idrissa Gueye's energy, and then you ask him to come back from an injury. I think he's struggling a lot, but I do agree that I think a key kind of energetic, a midfielder that's similar to Idrissa Gueye, especially in a 4-4-2 that we do start with, I think that could actually unlock Gomez. I'm not sure about Davies, to be fair. I'm still struggling to see kind of what he's bringing, and obviously we know about Sigurdsson that kind of just battles challenges. He clearly doesn't like playing in a 2 in midfield. He wants to play number 10, but he's not going to get to do that now. So as frustrating as Gomez, I think, has been, I genuinely feel he just needs a better kind of defensive-minded midfielder next to him to kind of let him kind of do what he likes to play. He does. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I mean, that game against Liverpool last year, we won't talk about specifics of what happened in the game, but he was bullying players. He was happy to get on the ball. He was happy to carry it forwards, and I think he just can't do that when he's got kind of Davies, who's often out of position next to him, or Sigurdsson, who is not going to offer any defensive cover. But I think we could just end there for now, unless you've got anything else to add.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, because I know Owen will watch this and he'll be thinking, fucking excuses again for Gomez. No, he's been shite. He's been absolutely shite. All I'm saying is I don't want him sold. There's some players who I do want sold and I don't see any value in. Gomez, he's been awful. Yesterday, he was as bad as any game Schneiderlin had played, and I hated Schneiderlin. But I don't think he's on the get-rid list. I think there could be a player there, whereas other players like a Sigurdsson, yeah, I've seen enough. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
thank God we've got Carlo, because he can, he's doing the best with what he's got, with the three midfielders he's got. He's managing to get results. Getting draws and a couple of wins. And I honestly, I was terrified going into the restart with the nature of the games and the midfielders we had available. I was worried we were going to do a Schalke and just be battered every game because we had no midfielders. And he's managed to somehow cobble together midfielders. We've seen Anthony Gordon in centre midfields. We've had Sadiq on the right wing again. He's really earning his money at the minute, Ancelotti, considering what he's got to work with in midfield. And he's improving players as well. Everyone's going, oh, well, he needs to improve play. Well, he is. Look at Michael Keane. Seamus Coleman's come back into decent form. And I don't mean Seamus Coleman the attacking force he was, but he's made Seamus Coleman a defensive right-back somehow. I'm glad we've got him. But, I just leave it at that.
I completely agree. So kind of all in all, disappointing to get a point before the game. Not a bad point after the game, like considering our first half performance, but I don't think we've learned anything new, and I don't think we will now until the end of the season. I'm kind of just finished with this year now. We're not going to get Europa League. I mean, we're languishing in, mid-table. Let's just get the new season started. Carlo can make changes in the summer if he needs, and hopefully we can do better from there. So thank you very much for watching. Sure to check out Terry's social media and all our social media in the description below. Let us know your thoughts on the game, whether you think Gomez could eventually return to form. Obviously, we do know that he's playing ridiculously badly. We're happy to admit that, but we do still feel that there could be a player in there somewhere. And let us know kind of what you think we need to recruit to kind of take it on to the next level. Is it a couple of centre midfielders? Is it wingers? What do you think we need? So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.